And it's so nice to be here today with all of you here and all of everybody online. We've got Reverend Shara with us today. Carol Roman on piano. And today we've got, it's Birthday Sunday. It's the first Sunday in June, so we'd like anybody who has a birthday in June to stand up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear everyone. Happy birthday to you. And apparently, if you felt the call to wear white today, so did many of us, as you'll see. We'll sing now for our congregational song, I Will Be.
Maybe we could stand.
And please stand.
Good morning again. My name is Stephanie Aho, and it is my great honor and pleasure to serve in many ways here at Unity and this morning. And first, as your prayer chaplain, as one of your prayer chaplains, it's my honor to light the Unity candle and open with the reading of our daily word. The lighting of the Unity candle symbolizes that light that shines within each of us and connects us all. Today, June 4th, Sunday, the word is release. And the affirmation is regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. The scripture that inspires today's reading is from the Psalms. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and right spirit within me. I have been changing as long as I have been alive and will continue to evolve as long as I live. I make room for the person I'm becoming through releasing, which is an important part of my spiritual practice. Just as I would not fill my clothes or fill my closet with clothes that no longer fit, I do not fill my life with beliefs and ideas that no longer reflect who I am and who I'm becoming. Regular releasing creates space in my life for new things to come in. It is my way of remaining open to possibility, of welcoming new opportunities, of keeping myself in the flow of life. Releasing is also a powerful way to live my faith. I trust I am moving in the right direction and release items from my past easily and with gratitude for the role they played in my life. The affirmation again, regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. Together, regular releasing keeps me in the flow of life. And so it is.
Good morning, everybody. So this is just the abundance of caution thing. I just have a little bit of congestion. I tested negative for COVID, but just to be modeling best practices, I thought I'd wear that mask. So no worries. But I am here, I am well, and how is everyone today? Good, wonderful. That was actually pretty enthusiastic because I've got a bunch of little, petulant ones up here. I'm getting side ponytail envy right now. I think we have a lot of fun in store with us today with our wonderful choir because this is about growing up and not growing up. Growing up and not wanting to grow up, right? Do you guys want to grow up? No! No! But as we heard in the daily word, we practice release. And why do we release? To change and evolve over a lifetime. Because those are our teachings, and that's what we are here to live. So let us move into prayer as we fill ourselves up with the delightful glory of Spirit and the enthusiasm that comes from the joy of transformation that goes beyond our resistance. And as we bring forward our lesson from last week, the practice is to meet all that resistance with acceptance. And to know that the journey continues to unfold and we are divinely programmed to meet life as it arrives with a big yes, and through that yes, continue to evolve and grow up over a lifetime. And in this way, we profoundly serve ourselves and all of the collectives in which we participate. So despite all of the resistance and fear and unknown that might destabilize, right now connect to the yes that is always present no matter what. The yes that has faith that doing the next indicated thing and putting one foot in front of the other leads to an unfolding of more love, of more life, of more joy, and more of our Christ essence. That's why we come together, while loving all the parts of us who are very happy to stay just as they are. And with great gratitude to have the recognition that everything belongs, that every part of us deserves love. We bring our presence back to this beautiful, beloved community, this beautiful collective. And we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen. Amen. Yes, so now we go right into our evolutionary update, which is what this is about. It's about evolution and how we are evolving. So as many of you know, I've been doing kind of a series based on the 4 quadrants of transformation. So we did wake up. We just finished talking about cleaning up, which we're going to move into. And then what are the other 2? Wake up, clean up, show up, and grow up. Yeah, I wouldn't get it from these. Right? So we are moving into the growing up. But the growing up process is quite mysterious. You know, what we're actually trying to do here at Unity of Tustin is see if we can emergineer our way into continued development. Can we do that? Can we do that? And we think we can create the conditions where it's more likely for us to grow up. And one of the ways we continue to grow up is by actively participating in our cleaning up. We naturally evolve into a certain point, and then after that, it takes intentionality, it takes effort, it takes will, divine will to move us forward. And we have just the offering for you. So as you know, one of our celebrations is that when Lisa Kolobar, our board president, rotated off the board, she rotated right in to deep leadership service by becoming a quantum living practitioner coach, getting this intensive training, and now she is offering this class to the community. So I'll just tell you the logistics. It's on Mondays, June 19th, 26th, July 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th, 6 weeks. And there are 2 time frames. You can sign up for an early class, or you could sign up for an evening class. This is all outside, right, Mary Jean, a sign-up sheet? Yes. And I want to tell you a little bit of the why. You know, why? Why? Because if you look inside, do I want to give up 6 weeks to do shadow work and do all my cleaning up? You're going to say? No. I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. But the reason is because we are really looking to create a quantum leap in our community. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. And that means we want to get from somewhere to somewhere new without ever being in between. Now, when we are burdened, when we don't release, like the Daily Word said, and we don't release our shadow energy, we're really bound to just keep repeating what's already been done with new permutations. But when we clean up the field, now we can make a jump into the newness that wants to be born through spirit. That's not only true in your individual lives, that's true of our beloved community lives as Unity of Tustin. So it's like this. When there's something that happens in the collective field of our beloved community, something might trigger me, but it won't trigger you. Something might trigger you, but it won't trigger Kathy. So what it means is that there's a relationship between our inner karma, our inner experience, and what activates us in that collective field. So when we can recognize this, and when we clean up what triggers us, that not only cleans it up for us, it cleans it up for the collective. We've been doing work as a leadership team trying to identify what is the organizational pain body. You know, Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. We also have organizational pain body. And what does it mean to clean up the lineage of unresolved issues? We have many prouds that we continue to glorify. And then we also have some unresolved issues that are going to keep recapitulating themselves unless we actively metabolize them with love through our principal practices and community. So the quantum living process is designed to do just this. It is a deep shadow work program that helps us find what our shadow is, helps us live into who we are called to be, and help give us the tools to metabolize triggers when they come up that help birth new forms of God in the world, create new worlds. And isn't that what we're after? They weren't sure. So I highly encourage you to look at this quantum living program, give it some thought, and as deep service for yourself and for our beloved community and what we are wanting to have come forward, please sign up and join Lisa in that deep dive into cleaning up so you can grow up, so you can show up with ever more love. Okay, now that kind of fits the first part of our mission statement. Our mission statement, our evolutionary purpose, is to transform lives. And then the other part is to inspire loving action, to inspire people to make a positive difference in our world. And one of the ways we've been making a positive difference is by sponsoring a child in India through Michael Ward, through the Mother Miracle School, which you will see is an example of an organization run with profound excellence and profound love. Michael's going to talk more, but these are kids who are in the lowest caste, who wouldn't have an opportunity for a fulfilled life, but who are very gifted. And they are selected and given food and education and love from the highest level. And then they have a destiny to then give this away as a life of service. So we sponsor this child through our contributions that have been given in the past, and that line item is running out. So we need to infuse it with some new money so we have more we can continue in this sacred service. And it really is very inspiring. So some logistics, just going to the Shelby app, going to our website, there is a drop down for Mother Miracle School. You can give your donation that way. You can put a check with a memo today. You can do however you give, but just make sure you designate it for Mother Miracle. And I do encourage you to consider that contribution in addition to your contributions to Unity of Tustin, so we can keep sponsoring one of these beautiful children. So Tony, will you please show us the video, and then Michael, we'd love to hear from you.
In our 5 state-of-the-art computer labs and IoT Internet of Things lab, we are training our students from kindergarten to be the leaders in the digital age. We have 25 of our graduates now attending private colleges. We provide them college fees, dormitory, bedding, food, uniforms, and education materials. From kindergarten to high school, our students and teachers are committed to the best education. Every year, our students excel in their government exams, ranking among the highest in the state. Daily extracurricular activities at Mother Miracle School.
First of all,
I think
is it
so.
on?
Yes.
Thank everyone for your attention and sponsoring a child. It's been my greatest joy in life to do this, to have this opportunity. When I finished my medical career, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And many of you all know Andrew Harvey. He said, Michael, meditate in the middle of the night when you wake up. What is it that breaks your heart? And what broke my heart were children who didn't have the opportunities in school that I did. I wasn't sure where that was going to go, how I was going to fulfill that dream. And I went to India. Well, I've been going to India for quite a while now, but this was back in 2016, I think. And I went in Coral Rose. Many of you all know her. She was a member here. She joined me there, and we were walking around and never found anything. How can I really provide support? How can I do to give? And nothing really reared its head, and I came back, and she sent me a link to Mother Miracle School. I looked at it, and I started crying. It's the most amazing organization you can imagine, and I greatly appreciate everyone's willingness to support it. I have 2 children in college now, and I have one little boy. He's just so sweet. He texts me all the time. I bought him a phone. He sends me messages. How are you? When are you coming back? Linda Cook, who is here, she has a daughter in college, and she has a little girl in school too. Margie Kerrigan has a child. And it's been such a help, and the board is actively looking for people who can continue to sponsor consistently. Anyhow, I won't take up too much time, but know that I'm willing to talk with you on the patio if you have any questions. If you have any questions here now, I can answer them.
There's a question right there. Make sure you say that we are sponsored. UoT of Tustin has a child. We are sponsored.
Oh, that was the assumption. Yeah, no, the group is sponsoring a child, and thank everybody. I'm sorry, I thought I thanked everybody for having sponsored a child. And so, yeah, the group, we are sponsoring a child, and we're wanting to get some more contributions to refund, get more supply, more funds. Please.
I think I heard it was $50 a month. Is that true?
It's $50 a month, which is, if you think about it, it's the cost of one person going out for dinner. And you give these children an opportunity that is beyond belief. If we didn't do this, they would be on the streets. They're learning computers. They're learning, it's amazing what they're learning. Please.
Michael, are these kids boarding there? And what about their families and so on?
It's a good question. No, they don't board there. Shara built the school. She's a dear friend of mine. She built the school in the slum so that they could stay at their homes, because they all have a family, but they just have no money. It's just, you know, the slums of India, it's nothing you've ever been used to. But it's absolutely beautiful. Someone asked me the other day, why do you want to be around these poor people? Honestly, why do you want to be around poor people? And it's like, it's all about love. You know, and I feel that, and it comes out in me all the time whenever I'm there. So no, they live at home. In fact, I met my little boy's mother. She was there last time, and she said, thank you so much for helping my child. And all of you are part of this, too. And as Mary Jean told me, she said, when you look at the website, go down and it's under India Child. It's not under Mother Miracle. If you go to the website and you donate, it's under India Child, I believe. Some more questions, maybe. Please.
What does the Indian government do for children like that? Is there
There's a government school, but it's not the quality at all of this. I mean, these kids are learning coding. I didn't even know what coding was. They're learning how to code, which is basically write programs for apps on our phones. We just supported building this IoT lab, which is the Internet of Things. And basically what that is teaching kids how to program automatic lights to go on when you walk into a room. All sorts of different things. And these kids they're in grade school. It's amazing. Please.
So what we're aiming for is to have $50 a month continuously to support this one.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like, what do we do if we want to support the extra things like building the computer lab, all the extracurriculars?
That's a good question. What I would suggest there, you could do it through here, but you might want to go to the website. I think if you go to the website, mothermiracle.org, there's a link there that you can, donate for a child or a one-time donation. But no, that's great. I mean, if you want to support a child individually like Margie or Linda Cook or myself, you can go to the website and support a child there as well. But I don't want to take away from the community supporting the children either. Please, Margie.
Are you finding that when you enroll one child in the family, does it help that the rest of the children might be interested to become students?
Typically, we only have one child per family, and I'm not quite sure why that is. It's spreading out the wealth amongst everyone. Because even very rich people will try and get in, and that's not what we want. We have to throw them out, actually. Because it's just not right. No, it's not fair, and this is for underprivileged children. And if you would see the admission day, which comes in February or March. School starts in April over in India. And there are hundreds of people lined up. They all want their kids to get into the school. And there are hundreds and hundreds, and it breaks Shala's heart when she has to turn them away because we only have so much room and so much support. So, yeah, I mean, it's not very pleasant when you have rich people. Before they actually come into the school, too, we research, they go to their houses, they look to make sure they are poor, they are poverty-ridden, and they'll talk with neighbors to make sure it's not a game, you know, because they'll find devious ways of how can I make people think that I'm poor. I mean, it's the most highly sought-after school in Rishikesh, and it's built in the slums. It's amazing. Some more, please.
So if we go and sponsor one child, do we get to write to him like a pen pal, or do we get to know his name and communicate that?
Way that would happen is that you would, Kasum is a graduate of the school, and she's the director of the students now. And actually, she's director of administrative services, and she'll be in touch with you and assign you a child, or she'll give you a couple of choices possibly. But yes, you can get connected with them. They don't really have email, so how can you really email with them? With my boy, he has a telephone, and so he's on WhatsApp, or he created illegally a Facebook posting for himself because you have to be 18 to have a Facebook posting. And so he was devious, and when I got this request to be a friend, it was a couple of years ago, I got in touch with Kasum and I said, please, could you make sure this is legit? I didn't know if somebody was hacking my accounters. And it was him. She said, I called his family, his mother answered, and he was crying because he wanted to be in touch with you. Isn't that amazing? So she let him create a Facebook account, and now we're in touch. She'll call me on Facebook. You know, you can do telephone chats on Facebook. And that's how I stay in touch with my child. We're trying to create a system to where we can maybe have all of the grade 1 levels at one time, do a Zoom call or something with the group here, for example. But the challenge there is that the time difference is 12 hours. And I don't really know how we could do that. I mean, it would be near impossible to do that. But individually, yes, of course you can connect. I mean, you can give me your phone number and get on WhatsApp. That's how we communicate with everybody, is on WhatsApp. India, everybody is on WhatsApp. Everybody, all over the world except here. Honestly, it's true. In fact, I got a call this morning from the guy who you saw in there who was teaching the computer lab, Surya. He called me this morning. Yeah, they're all part of my life and I'm part of their life. And it's really my purpose in life now. You know, when I finished my medical career, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and this is how it came about. And now this is indeed my purpose. Please, Kirk.
Yeah, do you have any success stories about kids who have graduated from high school, succeeded in higher education, and then gone on into the workplace and contributed to society?
Yes, Bikash is one who came from a very poor area in Bihar, poor area of Bihar, which is, it's one of the most underprivileged areas in India. It's very, very poverty-stricken. And he came at age 6 on the train by himself to Rishikesh and stayed with a family member. He grew up there, he became very successful, and he works with Amazon, I think, now. And he supports a child at Mother Miracle. That's the concept, is that you want people to learn and to support and create self-sustaining. We're in the process of figuring out how we can create a software company that will then further support the school, because, you know, relying on people for $50 a month is not a very sustainable practice. But this is very good. It's helping us. And when I was there, I sort of funded this IoT lab, and also we've created a Genius Lab, which is a lab for those who are doing well to stimulate them to further their education in computers. And we've really gotten the focus more into computers now and technology because that's really the direction of the world. Did I answer your question, Kirk? Please, in the back. Yeah.
Are the students learning English? Question number one. And comment number two, I love that they are maintaining their own culture, not being westernized.
Thank you. And that's true. We are maintaining that culture. Yes, they're learning English, and we're trying to improve that even more. What people ask me, what do you do when you go to India? I just go sit in the office and talk to the kids because they need someone out of India who speaks with the American accent, for lack of a better word, because this is really where that's the success in life is English. That's the common language everywhere. And they can learn it, and they're not as structured as well. We have Zoom calls every week. I do a Zoom call with the kids in college to help improve their English too, and they're doing very, very well. But yes, to answer your question, they're taught in Hindi. Obviously, they wouldn't learn anything initially if they were taught in English because they don't know English yet. But no, we're focused on that, improving the English education. There was another question somewhere? Don.
To me, that would eventually raise everyone's standard of living.
Exactly.
The cycle would actually help the whole community.
Exactly, and it's raising the whole consciousness of this group here, too. We talk about consciousness here, but this is consciousness in action, honestly. It's beautiful. I've never been happier in my life. In fact, I go now twice a year. I spend 3 months in the fall and 3 months in the spring. It's my greatest joy in life now. Maybe we're at time.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for sharing your heart. Let's just, yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. to turn within and embody the vastness, the changes, the beauty. As you allow your heart to retrospectively scan your whole life, all the changes, and all the changes to come. Very often we look back to our inner child to connect to that younger self. And I invite you to do that now as well. Just touch in for a moment. Say, hello, sweetheart. There you are. Here I am. But a practice that's been touching my heart these days is to also have a conversation with your future self, your self of tomorrow, yourself grown up a little more, a little wiser, a little more secure in the not knowing and the eternal now. And for some of us, connecting with our future self may be who is that wisdom that already is 10 years from now? For others, it may be even more tender. Maybe your future self in the realms of mystery. Catching lobsters with Arnie. Knowing the great unknowing. But allow yourself right now to be in the presence of your future soul self. It's like, hi there. And that future self says, hello, sweetheart. And just allow yourself to resonate with the wisdom of who you are becoming. Perhaps that part of you with such gentle patience says, I've been here all along. Loving you, admiring you, cheering you on, rooting for you, and knowing that without doubt you were beautifully following your life and finding your way into new rooms in this earthly mansion of discovery, of possibility, of service, of love. And notice how you feel in your body in the presence of your loving future self. And what questions do you have for that version of who you are becoming? What need for touch or gesture or smile or unconditional love makes your heart sing right now? And allow yourself to sink in to that communion and spend some time with your future loving self in the silence. And just as we always bring our younger self with us, when we come back to the present moment, I also invite you to bring your future self with you and see that integrated alignment of what is to be, loving what was, through the portal of your heart in this present moment. Always changing and always residing in the eternal heart of God. And we extend this prayer, this alignment, this embodied connection to all of those on our prayer list here at Unity of Tustin and all of those in our mind and heart. As we allow ourselves to become present in this now moment with perhaps a new resource to draw from when and as we need it. And as we are to be blessed by the wonderful voices of our Unity of Tustin choir. Thank you, Unity of Tustin Choir. I brought up extra tissues. I'm going to pretend they're for my cold. That was beautiful. It was really beautiful. Thank you. And Pam, you know, it's these changes, they are breathtaking, aren't they? Everything that moves as us. And, you know, reflecting on Arnie's service, one of the things I did in my own time was imagine my own moments of death and the people I would say goodbye to in that process. And what Arnie experienced and what we all will experience. And it's a lovely meditation, actually. It helps see the life beyond and the preciousness of the life that is. And it also moves me so very much to connect with my future self, because she's been guiding me for so long, and I'm right on the cusp of my ordination, and where my inspiration for ministry started, 7 years before I said yes, was I would be sitting at my community at Unity of Albuquerque, Unity Spiritual Center, and I would get this vision of myself preaching from the platform, but she was an older vision of myself because she kept having to take off her reading glasses and put them back on. And it's funny because back then I didn't need reading glasses. And now I do, but I pretend I don't. So I often talk to her, and I often say, I'm not quite there yet, but I saw you. I saw you and I heard you, and here I am. I was laughing with Bill and Claire that when I come back next as an ordained minister, I'm gonna come with a big Superman cape with a big O on the back for ordained. That big O. But it's a weird time to get ordained. It's a weird time to get ordained because spiritual communities have a lot of growing up to do since we're outgrowing our time. We've talked about this a lot in Europe. Church attendance is about 0 to 5%.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're the anomaly, actually, for economically developed country in our church attendance, but we're on that trajectory. We're on that trajectory of where Europe is going. And for every 10 people that leave old line churches, only 2 will come to a non-denominational church like ours or a newer church. Most will just stop being churched altogether. One of the big church consulting organizations, the Alban Institute, that used to coach churches on how to thrive, is now out of business because what they would tell churches to do stopped working. Stopped working. So I'm now reading a new book called Weird Church, because the new church consultants have to be a little weird. Because what works no longer works. So our future is weird. But we don't want to be weird. We don't want to grow up into that. We want to keep things the same way they are. A lot of ministers just are hoping that their church doesn't collapse on their watch. I have colleagues who have said, I just hope my community can keep paying my salary until I retire. And these are good people who care. This is just the reality of church life these days. The United Methodists, not too long ago, recognized that new churches usually grow more quickly than established churches, so they started an initiative to plant churches. And they'd usually start with 30 people. Within 4 years, they would have a congregation of about 70, but generally could not get to a threshold to become a self-sustaining church in 5 years that could hire even one full-time pastor. So, but yet, not too many decades ago, I hear the stories of opening Unity churches. It doesn't matter who was on the platform. That church would fill kind of faster than they could open. So the question becomes why? What is changing? What is changing? What is changing? So, there's two trajectories. One is, I'm not daunted by this. Maybe I'm equipped for it. Maybe there's something beautiful, since I do embrace all of it, about hospicing the old and midwifing the new. And this community has been very good at doing that through our long history, of not knowing where we were going as a community, and then finding our way as this beautiful place of spiritual teachers coming and serving, and now it's a new era, and we have a new emergence. And at the same time, there is a cultural shift going on. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Because it's not, the reason for the decline is not because of anything the spiritual communities themselves are doing. It is because of a change in culture. So I'm going to introduce just an overview of some of those cultural changes through the model of spiral dynamics. Now, I know in the heyday, Don Beck, who was one of the founders of the spiral dynamics model, has been here several times, and some of you may have a good understanding of spiral dynamics. For some, it's very new. Who has some proficiency in the model? Okay, so maybe about 40%. And who's this that's very new to, even spiral dynamics? The rest of you, pretty much. Okay. Maybe we've got a couple of ringers, and you can, yeah, it's really a compelling framework to explain what's going on underneath the surface of many of the changes we see today. And it actually even sheds some light on some of the larger cultural changes outside of spiritual community. And when we can see and describe something, it becomes much less frightening. And then we're empowered to actually do something. So I hope to seed that today, and then we're going to deepen over the next couple of months. So the premise of spiral dynamics is that human nature changes as conditions of existence change. So we'll go over some of that. And then that forges new systems. So there's different eras. And the eras come about because there's a tension that needs to be solved. The era solves it, but then it also creates new problems. So that's part of divine order. There's always this evolutionary tension that keeps the whole of creation moving forward in evolution. And we do our part by releasing through the shadow work and through our practice of elimination, so we can make more room for that fullness and unfolding. And that both individuals and societies move along this evolutionary spiral of development. So there's a vacillation. In this spiral of development, we tend to go through eras that are very individual because the individual wants expression. And then we have a little bit of individual overreach, and there's a correction, and the next stage is more collective, which is about the we. And then that we-ness gets a little stifling, so then the next one's about the I. And then that I gets a little too egotistical, and then it goes about the we. So there's this individual and collective vacillation that goes through the evolution of consciousness. And this is as we can recognize it throughout human history. That's what we're looking at. We're not so much making anything up, but trying to describe what has happened since the beginning of human consciousness. It also seems we can't quite jump levels of development, but we have to go through them in a particular order. And we often talk about like, oh, I'm very blue, or I'm orange, or I'm green, or, I'm second tier, And I'm like, you are not. What kind of environmental condition do you live in? All I know is for me, my mother tongue is blue. So it doesn't matter what I think I'm thinking, it's all going to come through this kind of traditional blue realm because that was my mother tongue. But it's not really about individuals, and when it's used that way, it can be quite dismissive sometimes. It's more like an operating system. It's more like, what's the lens through which you perceive life? And I do a lot of work of loving all the different parts of ourselves. Well, as we go through these levels, you'll see that you have parts of all of them within. So it's even about going to that banquet table and finding a way to honor the motley crew of all of the levels that exist within us, just as we have to come up with a way to accommodate all the levels that is in one spiritual community and all the levels which are on the planet. And it's not a hierarchy, it's more like a holarchy. And a holarchy is that every expression of consciousness is whole in of itself. Just like an atom is whole, but then more complexity is a molecule, which is also whole, and more complexity after that, might be an organism, and then a more complex organism. So it keeps jumping, but yet there is a life to each manifestation, and they all belong. It's like St. Paul says in 1 Corinthians, the eye can never say to the hand, I don't need you. So that's what we're actually learning. We're learning how to see that there's a wholeness in each expression, and how can we honor that rather than judging or having an allergy to it. So let's begin. We have here, interesting. Okay. Good. We have here just a very basic slide. So this is an easy way to just go through some of the stages. So in this model, the colors don't mean anything. They're actually designed not to have relevance. So if you see relevance, it's just coincidence. It's just a way to talk about the levels that is simpler. So we start with beige, and beige is about survival. And this is kind of humans emerging 250,000 years ago as Stone-aged humans, and it's about us surviving and getting our basic needs met. And what happens in human evolution is also recapitulated in our individual development. So we start off as beige. We start off as just being about survival and needing that care in order to survive. The other things about these levels is or these stages, is we transcend and include them. So we're going to grow up beyond simple survival, but that need to survive is always going to be part of our expression, needs, and DNA. We transcend and include. When we don't like part of our stages, we want to transcend and throw away. As we know, that creates shadow, that doesn't work. Can we exile parts of ourselves? No. What do we do with what we want to resist? Love, transform, accept. Accept what we resist. Absolutely. So that moves on to the purple stage. So the purple is after survival. In human history, it became clear that in order to have a better chance of survival, it was good to connect as bands of people. So that created a tribal consciousness at the end of the last major ice age, where people had to kind of get together to gather resources, and they formed tribes that practiced mutual reciprocity. And this is a self-sacrificing system, so we're giving up the individual for the collective, showing allegiance to a chief, elders, ancestors, clan through rituals, magic, superstition. And we can even see some of this in the primordial stories of Genesis that came from a purple context. So this is also a journey from a more unconscious unity to a conscious unity. So if you could imagine like early consciousness, there really is this amorphous line between what is me and what is you and what is God. And we can even see that in children as, they start drawing and everything's a circle. And you see them intently looking and you come at a circle. And then after a circle, they're intently looking and it's just lines coming from a circle. I was always fascinated by this. I would see it over and over again. So it's kind of that consciousness, and there is a magic in my experience that is real. There is a connection to source that can come through in really powerful ways that we might dismiss because we've been so separated from it. And a lot of later work is actually to reconnect to these earlier knowings so we can be enriched by them. So from this, we move into red. That emerged about 10,000 years ago. And that is when the safety and security needs of the tribe were met enough that people began questioning the superstition, the rituals, the elders, the power structures, the why I am not part of those power structures. And this is the birth of egocentricity. This is the birth of when we start seeing the I come across. And we can also see this in the 2-year-old and the adolescent and different expressions of life as well. And this is a very energizing energy, but it can also be a very power over dominating energy. And it often has very little guilt. So we can think of feudal kingdoms, contact sports, mafia, Mardi Gras, the Wild West. And as I said before, every solution creates a new problem. So you can see that individual impulse was very good. But now if you have a bunch of people competing for power, that's going to create a tension. And that tension is going to call for something. And what it tends to call for in this model is some law and order. So from that tension, we get to the blue stage about 5 years ago. And that's still around today. That's what I was born into, and that, for me, is my mother tongue. And when we think of blue, that encounters the lawless self-expression of red with a code of conduct that produces stability, laws, discipline, with a healthy dose of guilt to try to create a little control and order around here, to try to get that Wild West a little bit more tamed. So that worldview helps build character and moral fiber as one sacrifices self to a transcendent cause or a truth or a pathway. So you can probably feel that pretty much most major religions were born from this blue level of consciousness. This was also the consciousness of Hammurabi's code and Moses delivering the 10 Commandments on Mount Sinai, and the birth of faith traditions, patriotism, the Protestant work ethic, Robert's Rules of Order. That comes from blue, and it creates order. Predictability. It's predict and control. You can count on it. You know what to do. You know how to behave, and then you know how to be good. And like we said, we transcend and include. We always want to keep the best of all of these worldviews. So but the problems that emerge is that when blue is fully engaged, tolerance and understanding can become absence. And you can see this, the blue value system is working is if you are trying to argue or question a dogma or a tenet or a reason why, and you wind up arguing till you're blue in the face. So that's a hint that you may be in the blue realm because it's not negotiable. It's just the way it is. And if you agree, then everything would work, and everyone would be good, and they would be order and predictability in the world. And we need some of that. We really do. But you could probably feel that there's going to be a tension that's created. Well, I don't like that dogma, or that doesn't work for me, or there's something that we've outgrown. And then that comes to the orange meme, which the value system, meme is value system, that emerged about 300 years ago. And once blue stabilizes and brings this order, now we can shift focus to the I, me, mine, express myself system of achievement and personal success. So this is the movement often from the sacred to the secular. This is witnessed in the birth of the Enlightenment and the conviction that societies prosper through reason and science. Sounds good, huh? So the United States was formed out of an orange value system. Democracy, freedom, liberty, technology, and competitiveness are key. We can think of the age of exploration, of colonialism, the Industrial Revolution, Wall Street, the emerging middle class, Shark Tank, and the church growth movement. And guess what else was emerged from the orange value system? Unity. That's where we came from. We left kind of that blue dogma, and we were evolutionary in being that I have the power to create my environment. I have the power to deny what does not work for me. I have the power to create my own prosperity. There is this empowering of the individual, and I have the power to be and co-create with, as, and through God. You can't do that in blue. You can do that in orange. It becomes very, very powerful. And now we can self-actualize in extraordinary ways. Extraordinary ways. Key words of this worldview are free market, profit, entrepreneur, strategic plan, excellence, metrics, purpose-driven, and business models. So this is also, of course, our corporate world, our business world. You could say the United States is an orange nation in terms of the worldview and operating system from which we see the world. So where do you think the tension might come there? So the tension with orange is then people start saying, well, what about those who get left out of that success and prosperity? What about the inequality? What about the impact? What comes online in green is seeing that there is an interface between the influence of systems and individual agency. So green comes on board as people begin to question the affluence and excess of orange, and the impact and influence of systems that influence our identity, expression, and reality. So things in the green meme are global warming, world peace, eliminating hunger, closing the gap between the haves and the have-nots are important in this value system. And the focus moves back from the individual to the more collective nature of green. So in green, we value, in this meme, things like feelings, sensitivity, psychology is birthed from the green value system, caring for people, equality of all, consensus process, the Beatles, liberation theology, feminism, LGBTQ rights, Black Lives Matter, political correctness, national health care, the Congress of World Religions, farm-to-table food, and recycling. These are all part of that green operating worldview. You can see that there's going to be different reasons for engaging in community at these different levels. So when people in green choose to participate in spiritual community, they usually do so because they have like blue or orange roots. Because what we see is more and more millennials kind of identify or work with this green operating system, and even some Gen Xers. And some of them are very interested in community, spiritual community, and many are not. Those are not, generally weren't raised with religion, so they're not looking for it and they don't see the value. Those that were raised with it are looking for new experiences of religion that have that container, but kind of work towards more of those values. So you can see that this creates a little tension, because if you looked at who are we as Unity of Tustin, what operating systems do you see coming online? Do you see blue in us? The traditional kind of, yeah, I mean, we come on Sundays, we have an order of service, we use Robert Rules of Order, we have some things we can predict and count on. The structure, the infrastructure of Sunday is quite blue. Can you see orange at Unity of Tustin? Yes, we're very much about how can we manifest our Christ essence. And can you see green at Unity of Tustin? Yes, we have some of these values and recognition of kind of systemic influence is part of green. And green people, they usually identify as spiritual but not religious. That's how we often brand ourselves at the Unity movement. Now, these are very different worldviews. And one of the important things to know about spiral dynamics is this is one of the first times in human history that multiple value systems coexist in the same place at the same time. Gives a little understanding of why we have such political polarity, doesn't it? It's kind of helpful. Part of it's exciting, because as you can see, we're moving quicker and quicker. It used to take 5,000 years to get to a new value system. Now it's taking 30. But what that also means is we have many different worldviews trying to exist at the same time. And we don't quite have the capacity to honor all of them yet. That comes next. That's what second tier is. And it takes a momentous leap to get from competition to true inclusivity. True inclusivity. Green likes to think that they're inclusive, but they're inclusive of everybody except those that don't really think like them. So it becomes part of the problem. It becomes part of that first tier of fear. So we have blue, orange, and green in this room. Some people identify as center of gravity, but I'm pretty sure we all have parts of them in us. So let's look at something like tithing. Those of you with a fairly strong blue consciousness are going to tithe because it's in the Bible and it's the right thing to do. Okay? Those of you who are in an orange consciousness is going to tithe because it's part of your prosperity teaching. It's going to make you more prosperous. It's part of flow, and it's going to create a community that is excellent, that you're proud of. If you're green and you're tithing, you're going to say you can't use the word tithing because some people can't tithe and it's going to make them feel bad. We got all that going on in here. So what do we do? I mean, what do we do? And the future is more and more green. So these are some of our evolutionary tensions. But the good news, as we see through history, all of these problems are the engine of evolution. And what is being birthed now is this momentous leap where we're not the straight line just moving forward in a linear way, but we can take these quantum explosions to new consciousness. And what we're trying to do, or aspiring with our integral ministry practice work, is can we create the infrastructure of spiritual community that makes it more likely that we become second tier? And why is that important? Because yellow is second tier, and it's the first value system that can respect all the perspectives along the spiral as healthy and needed. Before that, we don't have that capacity. We just think we're right. And with that leap, what starts to come online is it's all needed and it's all belong and it's all beautiful. And let's try to wait to take the healthiest version of each expression, because we can express in all of these value systems in a healthy and unhealthy way, and transcend and include them because they're all needed. We need order, we need prosperity, and we need healthy systems that raise the boat for everybody. It's only at second tier that that type of thinking becomes online, because ego truly starts to disappear. You can see yellow is almost a new beige. It's not about survival of the self. It's about survival of what matters most. How am I going to make what matters most survive? How am I going to be what I want to see flourish in the world? That becomes the survival engine of second tier. So this second tier view kind of takes the balcony view of all the colors and can integrate facts, feelings, and instincts in order to help the whole spiral function in a healthy way. Words associated this is flexibility, spontaneity. That has the highest priority. People in this zone think and act from an inner-directed core. Intuition plays a role. Spirituality sometimes comes back online, and especially the next level up. It's more about sense and respond rather than predict and control. And there's a comfort with paradox, gray, both and thinking, and almost none of us are there. So there's this hope on the horizon that this is where consciousness is going. Most of us listening to it, you're probably like, I do that sometimes. I'm in that sometimes. You know, when the conditions are perfect and you're not even a little bit hangry, you know, then you can be there. But, you know, something's a little triggering, we usually revert back to our worldview that we think is right. And if everyone just saw things like us, everything would be okay. And then it keeps going. Turquoise is a very similar worldview, but does this as a collective level. And these are the consciousnesses that can get together regardless of race, nationality, socioeconomic status, and start solving the big problems like global warming and world hunger and things like that. So that's kind of where we're going. Oh, so let's take a deep breath. So I think for now, I'm going to kind of end there and just start wrapping it up, because this is just a taste, an introduction and a taste to show where we're at, why things are so difficult. This is the first time all these worldviews collide against each other. And when you see that in a trajectory of religion, which is so important to so many people, especially in this country, and you see that Christianity is on a trajectory to definitely decrease in the number of people who are going to be in that worldview going forward, because most people in green are not necessarily raising their children with religion unless they had strong blue roots, and that demographic is getting smaller and smaller. So if you can see religious identity in cultural decline and it matters to you, when all of these worldviews are colliding, the distress in the collective starts to make a lot more sense. You know, wow, there are people out there who see that what matters most to them is going extinct. Now, we or you or I might want that to be handled a different way, but I can have compassion for some of the behaviors that are arising as a result. For us, we can see that we're kind of going extinct. But there are two things that are helpful. One is a lot of the people leaving the blue and orange memes who are in religious organizations but still want to be in a religious organization are going to find us very attractive because we encompass some blue, some orange, and some green, which is where they tend to be going. But we're not here to bring in people who are green or second tier and make them orange or blue. We don't want to do that either. We actually have to evolve ourselves, and what green and second tier church is going to look like is going to look a little weird. And that's where we might say, I don't want that. I want to survive as a spiritual community, and I want to thrive as a spiritual community, but I want it with normal people like me. And the future, we don't know what it's going to look, but it's going to look different. And we transcend and include, I'm very much a big both and person. Quite honestly, I think the Sunday service model should exist as long as it can because it serves and does what it does extremely well. And while it's important, it's not sufficient for our changing world. So it's about keeping this going and experimenting and seeing what wants to emerge and playing, creating spaces, seeing what's going on in the zeitgeist of the collective, and then bringing that forward. And that's what we're doing. That's what we are doing as a leadership team. I'll be talking about the integration of all of that. We are trying to create the conditions that we are most likely to be able to listen to what wants to be born in this second tier way that serves. Because that's the other thing. We want more second tier capacity because second tier capacity is transegoic. It's not about fear, and it actually has within it the capacity to work with the healthy levels of all manifestations of the spiral so that we can be a thriving organism of deep embrace. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, just end with a few things. Too often, church coaches try to make aging coaches happy versions of 1995. While that can work in the short term, it's not going to work in the long term or even over the next decade. Yesterday is gone. It's not coming back. And naming this can actually help us stop worrying and get excited about growing up and leading again in new territory as birthing new manifestations of God and spiritual community on the planet. And we know this as principle. When Spirit is active, when we say, "Come, Holy Spirit," beyond what we know, we can connect to what really wants to be born through God. And that is our opportunity, that is our excitement, and that is what we're on the threshold of and that we're actively participating as Unity of Tustin. So just as in meditation, you had an opportunity to connect with your future self. Unity of Tustin also has a future self. And that future organization is already in conversation and communion with us. Because wholeness already is, always, and forever. So from last week's teaching, the part of you that may resist the changes that come, you just say, "Sweetheart, I see you. I see you. And when you're ready, tell me all you have to say. And I'm okay, petulant ones, if you are with me, even my entire life. Oh, you sweetheart, I love you so much. Even if you're with me my entire life." And then allow that to be as you embrace emerging weirdness and preserve the best of what we've created, and that works very beautifully. So I'm looking forward to meeting God with you all this year, next year, all the way to 2050 and beyond. God bless everybody. Let's grow up and live it or not.
Okay. Oh gosh, Shara, thank you so much. I love the being reintroduced to that model, that spiritual dynamics, which I'm looking forward to growing through. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always felt. Oh, just kidding. Hello. And again, thank you, Shara. Anyway, okay, for that spiritual dynamics intro. Looking forward to more of that. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always kind of felt that I only associate with fellow weirdos. So I think this is my place and love you all. Okay, so, a moment. You took away my stand. That's okay. I will fumble through this. Okay. Welcome. Now is the time we welcome our first-time guests in person and online. And we're so grateful that you've joined us here today. We believe in many paths, one God, and our evolutionary purpose is to transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. We are a community of all walks of life, and whatever your background, we're glad you're here. The ushers are coming forward with a flower and information card so you can connect with our community if you're here for the first time and are comfortable doing so. If you could raise your hand so we could recognize you. Anyone here for the first time today? Okay, well, welcome back, everybody, and encourage you to bring a friend next time. And as always, we're honored that you all have chosen to be here with us today. And next, we continue with the receiving of the love offering, the sharing of our financial gifts with our ministry. The various ways to give are actually now listed on this little card. Yes. That is in the seat back in front of you. And should be also online on the screen online for you folks watching at home. Our many ministries and meditation gardens here exist because of our committed giving, and we're grateful for your faith and generosity.
Thank you, Stephanie. And we talked a little bit more about giving and why giving, and really we ask you all to give from your deepest heart, because the only reason why we are here and the only reason why we exist as spiritual community is because the practice of generosity and the generosity of our abundance, so that we can thrive. And thrive with meaning. Thrive, what we are looking at is moving through this transitional stage as we start to birth whatever it is that's next. So please.
I know what's next.
This is Future Weird Church. It's happening here.
Okay, so we have, thank you, Carol and Jules, and Voices of Unity. And we have a whole lot going on for the month of June. Please make sure and check your bulletin or your Friday emails and our welcome table. Just real quick, June is Pride Month. And for the first time, Unity's going to have a booth at the Pride Parade in Santa Ana. Woo! On Saturday, June 24th. You can sign up out here if you want to help man that booth and or woman that booth and or whatever that booth. And you can also order a T-shirt saying unapologetically inclusive with a rainbow. Also on June 24th, Unity's hosting a very special event, Going Deep into Prayer. There's a description in your bulletin, actually. And next week we'll have a video from Angela Montano inviting everyone. Tickets available on Eventbrite or in the bookstore. And next Sunday, don't forget, June 11th, will be Unity's Got Talent. We still have a couple openings. Again, sign up out there on the welcome table. And also next Sunday, we're thrilled to welcome back the renowned Carl Anthony as our special guest. He'll be providing both the sacred message and music for our service. Also next Saturday, the Saturday after that, the 17th, there will be a community game night that includes a taco bar. All are welcome. More info out there. Don't forget our car wash today. Excuse me? Yay, car wash, yes. And proceeds benefiting the Family Ministry Summer Camp. So there will be no salon today. And again, check your bulletin, your email for all the many ongoing and upcoming classes, events, and opportunities for involvement here at our beloved Unity of Tustin. Okay, so now please join us for food and fellowship at the hospitality table. Our bookstore and gift shop are open. Reiki practitioners with green ribbon, prayer chaplains with white at the entrance to the gardens. And thank you all for joining us. Let's please stand and end with our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Now go forth and be that light and love we wish to see in the world. Namaste.